Vertical farming is a relatively new approach to growing foods, and we're going to provide an introduction in this video. Vertical farming is growing crop indoors vertically, or growing them in stacks, moving up, and it involves a great deal of technology. It's a technologically advanced system for growing food. There's often hydroponics involved and many other technologies that are pretty neat, lighting and everything that goes into a vertical farming situation. At this point in time, the major crops that are grown in vertical farming situations are leafy greens, and often the sites of these vertical farming situations are near cities. And part of the reason for targeting or putting them in cities is because you can grow crops locally. It really does dramatically reduce transportation costs. There are two videos that describe vertical farming, growing up, how vertical farm works, and this is by B1M, which is a construction site actually, and the video is linked in this description. Also, there's an article and a short video, YouTube video as well, by Megan Horvath. Vertical farming, what's the deal? And that's by Food Unfolded. And again, those are linked in the description to this video. There's also a reading by Beckman et al., Vertical Farming, a Summary of Approaches of Growing Skyward. This reading is linked to in the video, and if you're in my class, there is a PDF on the class link. Investments in vertical farming are growing. According to the Financial Times, there were $500 million of investment in 2020. That was a bit up from 2019, but overall that has grown since the early 2014. Again, the Financial Times article is linked in this video description, and there you can see some of the descriptions of the technology, but more so the thoughts of investors making investments and skeptics of the investments as well. Reasons for vertical farming that are often given are growing population. So we're going to have a growing population, and we're going to have more food to meet that growing population. There are also pressures on existing farmland. I mean, there's the farmland that exists, if we have a growing population, is going to have to continue to increase yields to meet the needs of that growing population. You can also make the case for vertical farms. If they're located in cities, you're growing them locally, and that also leads to transportation advantages. You don't have to move the leafy green and keep it, and you would hope that you could keep it fresher by having it grown locally. And there are also, perhaps, environmental benefits associated with vertical farming, including reduced pesticides and reduced greenhouse gas emissions. Shortfalls or concerns, perhaps, is the high economic startup cost of these vertical farming operations. There is a high investment cost associated with these startups. There are also the environmental claims are not totally clear, and I would refer you to the Beckman et al. Article. So here are the questions. So you can expect that technological advances in vertical farming will continue. And as those technological advances occur, how will the cost and production in vertical farming situation compare to traditional systems? And again, if we're looking at leafy greens, we're looking at other greenhouses and California and Florida. How will the costs compare? If the costs are equal or lower in a vertical farming situation, it's obviously going to compete quite well. If it's higher, then we will have to have some other benefit to that vertical farming situation to make it a go. So that leads to those two questions in red. Would consumers pay a premium from products from local vertical farming? So this presumes, or doesn't necessarily presume, but would a consumer in Chicago, say, pay a premium to have leafy greens grown in Chicago near its source? Alternatively, would consumers require a discount to buy food grown in vertical farming situations? And here the thought is that this is very technologically advanced. Maybe it's something that doesn't appeal to a consumer. So, those are the questions. And again, vertical farming is relatively new, past 10 years, and we will see how it fares in the future.